these code talkers actually will create a code that the Japanese will never be able to break. It was actually they did the code out of the Navajo language, and they were never able to break our code. We broke their codes and their codes, and that's actually how we are going to know about several places like Midway when we're talking about battles later. Again, women help with the war effort. They will be in non-combat roles. You're going to have a lot of women. So besides working in the factories here, you're going to have a lot of women who are going to be nurses in the Red Cross. You're going to have a lot of women who are going to become pilots. And they are not going to fly in combat missions, but they're going to be transport pilots. They're going to be mail carriers. And they're going to be people that are invaluable to the war effort. You're going to have over 5 million women who are going to become those Rosie the Riveters, who are going to take workforce jobs. And it helps they're over 24% of the women in the workforce will increase during this time period. You are going to have African Americans who are going to become the first pilots, the Tuskegee Airmen. When they were training, they faced a lot of segregation and discrimination, saying, "Oh, these black men can't fly airplanes. Black people can't fly planes." President Roosevelt's wife, Eleanor Roosevelt, is actually going to go to their training facilities, and she actually is going to fly in a plane with one of them, where the media was there, and she's going to get a lot of people to realize that they can fly in planes. So they're going to be those Tuskegee Airmen will be integral in the battles in North Africa. They are going to work with people here in America in these factories, just like women, to help to build a lot of the things for our war arsenal. It's very, 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 very important to note that African Americans fighting in Europe and during World War II, this is going to be one of the long-term causes of the civil rights movement, because a lot of them are going to come back home. Like one of them will start something called CORE. James Farmer was his name, and he was a World War II veteran. And when they come home, he's going to be like, "So we're fighting for democracy, or fighting for other people to be free in the world, but when I come back home, I can't even drink at a lunch counter, take a drink at a lunch counter that's integrated." And so he's going to start CORE, the Congress of Racial Equality, in Chicago, and they're going to start sit-ins. And again, it will become a long-term cause of of the civil rights movement. Mexican Americans, also you have Mexicans from Mexico. We sent, we wanted them to come. During the Great Depression, we sent them back. Now we need them back. We need for them to come to the United States in something called the Bracero program to be our farmers. We are at war. A lot of men are gone, so we need people to come and farm. And so we set the Bracero program with Mexico to get Mexican expatriates here to come and farm our land. We also will have something in Los Angeles because of all the sudden Mexican immigrants. There's going to be discrimination and violence, riots. The biggest riots were in Los Angeles. They were called the Zoot Suit riots. Zoot Suits were, if you ever seen the movie The Mask with Jim Carrey, that's what I always think of when I think of what a Zoot Suit is. It was literally it was the fashion of Mexican Americans. It's just what they wore. Like, some people wore do-rags. Some people wear Jordans. Simply Southern. It's just zoot suits were what Mexican Americans in the 1940s wore, and their suits that the coats were really, really long, and they went to your knees. And so it was called the Zoot Suit Riots, and they actually um, was race riots that mainly were actually naval. A couple of American naval soldiers went to the Mexican Americans like neighborhoods, and they were fighting, and they beat each other up, and they literally were fighting Navy people on the streets. Um, but other than that, that is it for America during World War II at home, and the causes of the war as well.